So, you want to make your website multilingual, maybe to get more sales, to increase traffic, or even out of legal obligation. The first question many will ask is, can ChatGPT help me translate my website? And the answer is yes. It can absolutely work if you're willing to do some hands-on setup and be organized. But don't worry, in this video I'll give you a complete step-by-step walkthrough so you can follow along. Now, there are a lot of great AI tools out there that can help you translate your business website, like Perplexity, Claude, DeepL, or even Google Translate. And each one has its strengths depending on your use case. In this video, we're focusing on ChatGPT because it allows you to guide the translations with prompts, control tone and terminology, and make your content feel more natural across languages. But let us know if you'd like us to make another video showing how to translate a website with your favorite AI tool. For those of you that have larger websites or simply don't want to waste time on manual methods, you can skip to the end of this video where I'll show you a much easier automated way to do the same thing without having to manage everything manually yourself. But first, let's see what's the best way of translating a website with ChatGPT. The first step is creating a spreadsheet. Now, you might be tempted to dive right in and start copy-pasting your content into ChatGPT, but this method is guaranteed to get messy and cause you a lot of time and errors. So to keep things organized, first open a spreadsheet and make a list of all the pages you want to translate. Add 4 columns: URL, type of content such as homepage, product page, etc., approximate word count, and translation status. You can even add a notes section if you want to. This helps you stay organized, keep track of what's been translated, and avoid copy-pasting the same section 5 different times. And you will see how this comes in handy in the following steps too. The second step is setting up your ChatGPT prompts and glossary. Before you go ahead and wipe translate everything, consider giving ChatGPT a prompt so it can generate the best results. This is where ChatGPT and traditional AI translation engines like Google Translate and DeepL differentiate. Although translation engines are highly accurate, they don't take context into consideration. Especially when it comes to website translation, this can cause inconsistency and you might spend extra time editing your translations. Whereas with ChatGPT, you can start with a prompt that can reduce your editing time significantly. Here is an example of what a ChatGPT prompt for website translation can look like. I want to translate my SaaS company website homepage from English to French. Keep the tone friendly but professional. My target audience is marketing professionals. Keep the formatting intact and consider text expansion. If you have a few key terms that show up across your site like shopping cart, business plan, support, or specific product names, it can save you a lot of time to include a glossary in your prompt. For example, we can add this: always translate home as accueil, always translate support as assistance, always leave easy plan in English. This makes a big difference in consistency, especially across navbars and CTAs, and save you a lot of post-editing time. Another advantage of translating content with AI tools like ChatGPT is that it preserves brand messaging more accurately through different languages because it understands context, tone, and nuance far better than traditional translation engines. That said, it's still worth fine-tuning key messaging like taglines, CTAs, or emotional copy, just to make sure it feels natural and impactful in the target language. And speaking of nuance, AI has come a long way in recognizing idiomatic expressions and adapting them more naturally. But it still doesn't have the cultural instinct or an understanding of a native speaker, of course. It might nail common phrases, but more subtle or emotional language can occasionally miss the mark. That's why it's a good idea to review high-stakes sections or ask a native speaker to spot check for anything that might feel off. AI can get close, but culture is still a human terrain. And finally, a useful tip is to create a separate project in ChatGPT or an agent to save your website translation prompts in one space, so you can always go back to it and it can learn from your input continuously. The third step is translating your content, but in chunks. Now that you have everything set up, go to your spreadsheet and start with the first page. What I recommend is translating one section at a time, such as headlines, body text, CTA buttons, etc. Don't dump everything into ChatGPT at once. It works best in small, well-labeled chunks. For example, here's how you can do it. You can say, translate the following homepage content into French. So you have the headline, subtitle, paragraph, CTA button. That way, ChatGPT knows the context, so it makes sure it translates it in the best way possible taking into consideration your UX too. But remember, although AI translation is pretty accurate, it's not perfect. So always do a light review before using the output. And if you want your translated content to show up in search engines and LLMs, don't stop at page text. Make sure you also translate meta titles and descriptions, image alt text, open graph data for link previews. For example, you can ask ChatGPT a prompt like this. I want to make sure my website is optimized for search engines and LLMs. Translate this meta description to Turkish. Keep it under 160 characters and include the keyword yağlı boya fırçaları. These kinds of multilingual SEO practices have a big impact on visibility, so don't skip this important step. The fourth step is to create translated pages and structure. Once your content is ready, you'll need to create dedicated pages to display it on your website. And this is where it gets a bit technical, so if you don't have the dev skills, it's really worth the investment of getting professional help here. If you're using a CMS like Webflow, WordPress, or Shopify, first check if your platform allows for page duplication or language folders. For example, on the Weglot website, you can see that when you go to the Spanish language, it adds a subdirectory here is in ES. Just be aware that this part affects SEO and content structure. If it's not done correctly, search engines might treat your language versions as duplicates content, and you might end up hurting your website performance. So make sure to follow multilingual SEO best practices here. The most important tip to follow is using clear language-specific URLs like the subdirectories I just showed. The second one is keeping one language per page, so don't leave half of your page in English and the rest in French. And lastly, add hreflang tags. This is a step we cannot miss. But I know that it's a technical step, it might be clear to everyone, so I'll add a dedicated video that goes through it in detail. You can also get ChatGPT's help here by giving it a prompt like, for example, we can say, write hreflang tags for English, French, and Spanish pages, for example.com. I'll also link down a tool that checks if your hreflang tags are implemented correctly on your website, so you can validate your implementation. The next step is to add the language switcher, so this is where things get more fun. Once your multilingual pages exist, you need to make them accessible to your international visitors. You don't necessarily need sophisticated setups like automatic geo-detection, which might get complicated if you want to implement it manually. So just a visible language switcher in your navigation is enough for this method. Most CMS like Webflow or Framer offer ready-to-use templates for language switchers. You can even use our free language switcher kits for Webflow, which I'll add in the description below. But if you want to add this manually, you can ask GPT a prompt like this, for example. Create a simple HTML language switcher linking to EN, FR, and IS on my website. Then paste that into your website and customize the styling to fit your website. Step 6 is checking for accuracy, design, and usability. Now that everything is ready to go live, go through your translated pages and review for these 3 important parts. The first one is translation quality. For marketing, e-commerce, or even simple blog pages, ChatGPT is usually good enough with a human review. For legal, medical, or high-stakes content like a homepage or pricing, always have a professional do a final proofread to avoid misunderstandings. Then make sure to check your pages for design issues. For example, some languages like German take up more space, which can cause issues on menus and buttons. Let me show you on our website. As you can see, that it becomes instantly more text heavy, so you need to make sure that your website design is responsive to expand for it. And also think of right-to-left languages like Arabic that require a different page orientation. As you can see, our orientation changed like this, so your website needs to account for that. Finally, images with text can benefit from translation too, so consider uploading localized images on your localized pages. Lastly, consider dynamic content limitations. If your website includes dynamic content like blog feeds, pricing widgets, product filters, ChatGPT can't help you handle that directly, but it can help you create logic in your CMS. The last step is maintenance. This part is often forgotten, but website translation is not a set and forget project unless you're using a website translation solution. Whenever you update a page in your original language, you'll need to retranslate the changes. This is where our Spreadsheet comes in handy. You can use it to mark updates, use version control like version 1, version 2 in file names, or flag updated sections directly in your CMS and translate just those parts. It's a bit of an extra effort, but way better than losing track of what's outdated. So, if this feels like a lot, that's because it is. Although website translation is a guaranteed performance booster for any website, it might not be worth it if you have to spend weeks or months while risking technical errors, broken pages, and outdated content. That's why most businesses use dedicated website translation tools like Weglot that automates everything we just walked through, from translation to structure, SEO, display, and much more. And what especially sets Weglot apart is that it's completely AI-powered while giving you full flexibility so you don't have to waste time on any unnecessary steps. Just to give you an understanding of the powerful native features you'll get a translation glossary, translated pages with correct structure and hreflang text, access to professional translators for post-AI editing, and even the option to build your own custom AI language model to customize translation tone and terminology for your website, powered by OpenAI and Gemini. It's basically this whole process automated to the max. If you're curious to learn more about it, you can try Weglot for free from the link in the description below. Don't forget to like this video if you found it useful and follow us for upcoming videos.